The year is 1814. Napoleon Bonaparte, the once seemingly invincible conqueror of Europe, has been defeated and exiled to the island of Elba. His empire, forged in the fires of revolution and war, lies in ruins. From the ashes of this conflict, a new Europe must emerge. This Grand Assembly, hosted by the Austrian Emperor Francis I, brought together diplomats and dignitaries from across the continent. They gathered in Vienna, the heart of the Habsburg Empire, to redraw the map of Europe and forge a lasting peace. The stakes could not have been higher. The Congress of Vienna was not merely a diplomatic gathering, it was a defining moment in European history. The monarchs and statesmen gathered in Vienna were determined to prevent another French Revolution and to suppress the spread of revolutionary ideas. The Napoleonic Wars had devastated Europe, leaving countless dead and economies shattered. Their task was monumental, and the future of Europe hung in the balance. At the heart of this Grand Assembly were a handful of individuals who played pivotal roles in shaping the Congress and its outcomes. These men, driven by a mix of idealism and realpolitik, would leave an indelible mark on the course of European history. Clemens von Metternich, the astute Austrian foreign minister, emerged as the dominant figure at the Congress. A staunch conservative, Metternich believed in the principles of legitimacy and order. He sought to restore Europe to its pre-revolutionary state, upholding the divine right of monarchs and suppressing any hint of nationalism or liberalism. Another key figure was Charles Maurice de Talleyrand-Périgord, the cunning French foreign minister. Talleyrand, a master diplomat who had survived the French Revolution and the Napoleonic era, was determined to secure the best possible outcome for France, despite its defeat. Tsar Alexander I of Russia, a complex figure with a mystical bent, arrived in Vienna with a vision of a Europe united under the banner of Christian brotherhood. Representing Great Britain was Robert Stewart, Viscount Castlereagh, a pragmatic diplomat who prioritized British interests above all else. He played a crucial role in forging alliances and ensuring that the Congress achieved a balance of power favorable to Britain. The Congress of Vienna was driven by a number of key objectives, all aimed at creating a lasting peace and preventing another devastating conflict. Foremost among these was the containment of France. The delegates were determined to prevent France from regaining its former dominance and threatening the stability of Europe. To achieve this, they sought to weaken France militarily and strategically, while avoiding humiliating the French people and sowing the seeds of future resentment. Another primary goal was the establishment of a balance of power. The idea was to prevent any single state or alliance from becoming strong enough to dominate the continent. This involved carefully distributing territories and creating buffer states to prevent any one power from becoming too powerful. The Congress aimed to create a system of collective security where the great powers would act together to maintain the peace and prevent aggression. The Congress also aimed to restore legitimacy and order to Europe. Section 4. Redrawing the map, territorial changes, and the new European order. The Congress of Vienna resulted in significant territorial changes across Europe, redrawing the map in a way that reflected the Congress's aims of containing France, maintaining a balance of power, and restoring the old order. France, despite its defeat, was treated relatively leniently. It retained its pre-revolutionary borders and was not burdened with excessive war reparations. However, it was surrounded by stronger neighbors. The Netherlands, merged with the Austrian Netherlands, what is now Belgium, created a strong buffer state in the north. Prussia gained territory on France's eastern border, serving as a check on French ambitions in that region. Austria, under Metternich's guidance, emerged from the Congress strengthened. It regained control of territories lost during the Napoleonic Wars and expanded its influence in Italy. Russia's expansionist ambitions were partially fulfilled with the creation of a Polish kingdom under Russian control. The suppression of national aspirations, particularly in Germany and Italy, planted the seeds of future unification movements. Section 5. The German Question, a fragile unity in the heart of Europe. One of the most significant outcomes of the Congress of Vienna was the creation of the German Confederation. This loose association of 39 German states, replacing the defunct Holy Roman Empire, aimed to maintain peace and stability in Central Europe. The German Confederation, however, was plagued by internal divisions and external pressures from its inception. Austria and Prussia, the two dominant German powers, vied for influence within the Confederation. This rivalry, coupled with the growing sentiment for German unification, made the Confederation an inherently unstable entity. The creation of a weak and divided German Confederation merely postponed the inevitable question of German unity, a question that would dominate European politics for decades to come. The ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity continued to resonate throughout Europe, inspiring liberal and nationalist movements that challenged the conservative order. Section 6. A Legacy of Peace. The Congress of Vienna and the 19th Century. The Congress of Vienna is often credited with ushering in a period of relative peace in Europe. For nearly a century after the Congress, no major conflict engulfed the continent. This period witnessed significant economic and technological progress, as well as a flourishing of art and culture. However, this era of peace was not without its share of conflicts and revolutions. The revolutions of 1848, sweeping across Europe, demonstrated the fragility of the Vienna system and the enduring power of liberal and nationalist ideals. The Crimean War, pitting Russia against a coalition of European powers, shattered the illusion of great power unity and exposed the cracks in the Congress's carefully constructed system. The rise of nationalism, the Industrial Revolution, and the growing discontent with the existing social order all contributed to the eventual collapse of the Vienna system. The legacy of the Congress of Vienna is complex and multifaceted. Section 7. Conclusion. The long shadow of Vienna. The Congress of Vienna stands as a pivotal moment in European history. It marked the end of an era of revolution and war, and laid the foundation for a new international order. While the Congress achieved some of its objectives, it ultimately failed to contain the forces of change sweeping across Europe. The rise of nationalism, the Industrial Revolution, and the growing demand for political and social reform all contributed to the erosion of the Vienna system. The legacy of Vienna continues to resonate in the 21st century, offering valuable lessons for a world grappling with its own geopolitical challenges.